Hi, hi Anandra. Hi Anand. So we'll get started in 2 minutes. Let's wait. There are a few more people who are about to join.
Amit, are you still there?
Yeah.
Oh, good, great.
Okay. Okay. Let me share my screen and yeah. Hi guys. My name is Amit Srivastav.
Yeah, hello.
If you are still joining, um,
Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, so basically, this is a webinar which we have scheduled today, and this is to kickstart your programming journey. I hope so. There is a Q&A section. This is a webinar, so you won't be able to uh, you won't be able to speak basically. But in Q&A section, probably you can, or in chat also you can. It is enabled for all of you. So please put in the chat. Uh, if you have any queries or in Q&A sections, you can just ask questions. So the format would be that I'll be talking about some of the basics of Java, and then we'll go through some of the programming concepts, and we'll do some hands-on as well. And after that, there would be 5 to 10 minutes, because this complete session is for 1 hour. So we'll have around 5 to 10 minutes in the end uh, for Q&A. Okay, so let me so maybe Anshika, would you like to start? So
Ye-
maybe you can
hel-
give your brief introduction, and we'll get started.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Anshika Verma, and I am founder of GrowWise. And Amit Srivastava is a CTO of the company, and he's a tech guru of GrowWise. So we plan to, do this webinar to, do some community work so that we can help people to learn more. And he once he starts, and then he will dive deep in basic Java concepts, and there will be some hands-on coding as well. But at the end, we can talk about other stuff, your journey as well, like in terms of programming, how is your journey so far, what are you learning, and why are you interested in Java, and so and so. But we'll talk about end of the session. So Amit, you can take it over, and let's start. I think we have pretty much good audience at this moment.
Okay, sure. So yeah, so this, as I said, right, this webinar is all about, right, the programming journey. We have to get started with the Java. This will cover basic, concepts about Java. What is Java? How it is, how does it work? And what kind of language it is, and where we use on, in our, if you are working in some software company, probably you'll be using Java, or if you are not using, you are going to use Java, then what all, different concepts are there within that, right? So let me start with this. Uh, I believe that it is visible to all of you, the presentation. Okay, so first thing is that what is Java? Um, um, So yeah, so Java is a programming language, and it is one of, like, there are different types of programming languages. You must have heard of C, C++, um, JavaScript. Similar to that, Java is also a Python. Also, you would have heard. So there are many actually. So Java is one of the old programming language, and it is quite popular, right? And if you search, right, in trends also, you will see that Java is still among the one of the popular languages, right? So Java is a programming languages which we use to write the programs on the system, and we execute that to perform certain task. Okay. Um, it is an object-oriented language. When we say object-oriented language, you can think of anything in this word, right? If you're thinking that something like a pen, right? Pen is also an object, right? And what all things this pen can do, you can define this in Java, right? As an object. Uh, in real world also, it is like an object. And so Java, how it works is basically it treats everything as an object, and there would be certain interactions between the objects, right? So yeah, this is an object oriented language. Platform independent language, when I say, mm, so platform independent language, when you say, now you must be knowing about different platforms which are available. Platforms mean OS. What I mean is OS, operating systems. So Mac OS is one of the platform. Windows, right, is another platform. Linux is another platform. So these three are major ones. And Java works on all, right? And you don't have to write different programs to run it on different platforms. Okay, so you can run one program, it runs on all the platforms seamlessly. Why it works, that I'll talk about it later, and how it works, right? Where this language is commonly being used? It is being used in web, mobile, and enterprise applications. When I say, right, so web, mobile, mainly I'll talk about it. Web applications are your, like, websites, right? You are opening any website. So there also, on the backend, Java is being used. So backend and frontend, any web application is divided into two parts, where one is client and other is server, right? So the client communicates to server, and it sends some request, hey, I want this thing, and then server responds back to the client and gives some data, right? And that client uses that data and displays it on the web, right? So Java is used on the backend systems, right, where the server side of it, where it provides the data, based on the request. Mobile application also, it is being used, and mostly like in Android applications. So Java based applications, these are called. Why learn Java? So basically, yeah, it's good add-on, right? And very popular language, as I said, and it is vastly being used by most of the enterprises, right? So that's why I think we should all learn Java if we are into the programming, right? That is very good addition. Okay, so yeah, that I talked about versatility, right? It is being used everywhere, almost everywhere, and I doubt that any of the companies, big companies, will not be using Java. Strong community support and extensive libraries. I'll talk about it. A lot of community support is there. If you go on Stack Overflow or Google, you search anything with respect to Java, you will get a lot of things, right? So there's no um, a lot of materials are available. Uh, if you are working on something, right, in Java, and if you're stuck somewhere, so support is there. Before I'll jump onto this program, right? I'll just talk about it, how it works, right? So the program which you see, just forget about it, what is written here. But usually what happens whenever we are creating some Java files, so always that file name is created with the name of that file and extension would be .java. So .java tells that you have created a Java file, okay? And this is written in Java programming language. And what all things do you need, right, to run this program, right? You are writing a Java program, you need compiler to run it, and you need JVM, right? JVM is nothing but it is called Java Virtual Machine. So think about it, you have your machine, right? Whether it is Mac OS, Windows, or Linux, right? You want to run it on your machine. Uh, So Java Virtual Machine, what it takes is that whatever Java program, Java file which you have written, it will take that file and the compiler, right? So compiler first, what it does is it converts this particular file, right? Java file to dot class file. And then this dot class file would be used by the JVM. And JVM basically it runs that Java program, right, on that particular machine. JVM, which are installed on these operating systems, are different packages which can be downloaded from Java website, and uh, these are related to that particular platform. So you have to compile the program. Basically, the Java compiler would compile the program, and JVM would run the program. Okay, I'll not spend much time here. We'll move on to the next one. I'll come back to this program and I'll basically uh, give you some, hands-on coding also will do, where at that time we will see that how we can write this Hello World program. So this is the first program. Wherever you go, right, you will see first thing that Hello World program would be written, right? So I hope like everything is clear, right, on the compiler. Compiler compiles the program, whatever code is written, right? It has to basically, that machine has to understand that what is the program. And if you know, right, about it, and if you have ever worked on any other languages also, if you have not, I'll tell you. Basically, what computer understands is always that byte array, right? It converts everything into bytes, and then it performs some calculation. It does all the things, right? Any file, whichever text base, the computer does not basically understand anything about it, so it always converts. So basically the compiler would compile the program, JVM will run the program, right, on these different operating systems. Okay, so there are different things, right? As I talked about, Java is an object-oriented programming language. So everything you will think like an object, and uh, in Java programming. And when I say everything, you think of a program object as uh, basically what all things you see, right? Which will have certain properties to it, right? Whether it is your computer itself, let's think about a computer, right? What all things it has, right? You can see displays, it has a display, it has keyboard, it has mouse, a trackpad attached to your laptop, right? And then it will have some motherboard inside the laptop, right? And there would be connectors, right? Where you are connecting your charger. So think of like a laptop itself an object where you have these certain properties, right? So these properties are called variables, right? For an example, keyboard is one of the variable, and then whatever numbers you see on the keyboard, right? That keyboard itself you can think of as an object, right? And in that keyboard you will have numbers, you'll have alphabets, you'll have a special characters, everything. For that, everything button is there, right? When you press on that button, certain actions are performed. So variables are like the properties of that object, and data types are basically in Java are called that what type of data it is representing to. Um, let's say I will take an example of a human, right? If you think of human is as an object, right? So what all properties a human can have? Human will have eyes, right? Nose, ears, tongue, when you say face, right? And hands, legs, all these are like properties. And these properties are called as variables. Now you think of like a human has how many legs? So human has two legs, right? Let's say. So two legs, if human has, right, you want to define it as a number, right? Let's say you have a property in human class, and you have a property called number of legs, then it will be like number type of data which you are representing it. So in Java, there are different types of data types are there. One is integer. So integer represents the number. There is a character which is called as char or char, right? It gets represented as that, where you will, if you want to define some characters, when we say characters, it can be any like A, B, C, D, like that, or any special character. If it is there, not more than one uh, character is there, that would be defined as char, and then you'll have float. So float is like you have some decimal numbers. For an example, you are buying some vegetables, so you are paying some bills, and it has amount like 125 rupees 25 paisa. So it will be like 125.25. So wherever the decimal numbers are coming, those would be represented as float. Okay. Uh, so mainly, yeah, these data types also probably I'll show you at the time of our practicals, when we'll do after this theoretical session. Okay, you just hear all that what I'm talking about. Maybe once we'll move on to that part, right? Then I'll show you all those things also, how you can define those, right? And how you can create the class, and how you can create the variables, data types, and then methods also. Okay, so control flow. Let's move on to next one. Control flow is if something happens, then what has to be done? Else is uh, basically you have certain conditions to something, right? If let's say a human tendency, right? If my mother will say, a kid is telling, right? If my mother will say, I'll go to study, else I will not go to study, right? So it's something like control flow. It decides that what should be the flow, right? So this if and else conditions are actually controlling. And then there are things like loops in Java. Loops are defined as for, right? So for is the keyword which is being used. So loops are something which is repeatedly happening, right? Mm, so you want to perform certain operations. again and again, right? You want to calculate something, right? And you want to change dynamically things, but you want to run it again and again, certain functionality. Let's say you want to print hello world 10 times. Then you will run a loop and you will just run the loop for 10 times and it will print 10 times hello world. Okay, so loops are those. So basically it decides a control flow of the program, right? Functions and methods are the behavior of that object. Mm, when I talked about human, right? So humans, what they can do, they can see, they can smell, they can watch, they can hear, right? So I can hear. So this is my function, right? I can do. These are all my behaviors. So those are called as functions or methods in Java. This is object-oriented programming language, as I talked about it. So everything is treated as an object in Java. Okay. Okay. So let's think about this is the first program, right? How we can write a program in Java, how the basic syntax would be, how the structure would be for that Java program, and how it is being executed on the machine. Let's say you are very new to Java and you don't know anything about it. So as I said, right, you need one JVM to be installed on your machine and one editor probably. If editor is not there, that is also okay. There is a command line through which you can compile the code and then you can run the code, but it will be easy if you have some editor installed on your machine, right? I'll tell you that also what you can do, right, to install that editor and how you can set up Java on your machine, right? This is a simple code, right? Uh, Here, let me just go back again. Okay, simple program, hello world. So what it does is basically this is a class. What it does is it prints a statement called hello world on the screen. It does nothing else apart from this. So this, the syntax, how a Java object I was talking about, right? How objects are created, that I will tell you later. But this is how a class. So first the class has to be created. That class would be converted into object, and that object we will use to do perform certain tasks, right? So first step is that you have to create a class. How in Java you can create a class is like public class hello world. So it has all meanings, right? Why this is called public, why this is called class, why what is this, right? So public, it says like think about it. You have your own life, right? There is some part of your life you want to share with the whole world, right? So you would have used some social media applications also, right? So there you will say that you want to public your profile or you want to keep it private, or some post you are making on some social media sites. It asks you option whether you want to share with friends or you want to share with public, everyone, or you want to share with, or you want to keep it private, right? So private will not be visible to anyone. Public would be visible to everyone. And the something which you are sharing with friends will be visible only to the friends, right? So the similar concept is here also, where you say public, right? It means that this particular class which you are creating, this would be public to all other classes. Basically, all other classes would be able to see your class and would be able to use your class, right? How they can use that? Let's come back to that later. But yeah, this is the concept of public, uh, private, and in Java, actually, there are four different types of these are called access modifiers. Access modifiers means how you are giving that access, right, to other people, right? So public means publicly you are giving access. Private means you are keeping it private, so nobody can use your class. Okay, private means And protected, there is one keyword for telling that, that friends, I was telling, right, you can share with friends. So you are keeping it protected and you are giving access to few people only to see your post, right? So that is protected. So in Java, it is a protected keyword. And then class is the class. Basically, for every class which you are creating, that class keyword has to be used. And then hello world is the name of that class. So in case which I was telling you one example, so human can be a class, pen can be a class, laptop can be a class, anything, right? Monitor can be a class. Everything, each and everything in Java, it thinks from an object perspective, and a class can be created for each and everything, right? Uh, then this what you see, right, is the main method, right? It is called main method. You think of like you are having a program, right? You are writing a program, but you want some at some point, right? You want to start or execute that program, correct? So how you will say that this is my starting point, right? So Java provides a way, right? If you write a main method and you run this program, run this class, right? Then always it executes the main method. And when it executes the main method, it will do whatever you have written within that main method. Okay. So when we'll do the practical, I'm just talking about it theoretically, but we'll do a practical also after this. Okay. So I talked about it, the data types, right, earlier, like how you will define a number, then you'll have floating numbers. So float is like decimal numbers, and char we talked about that character, some character A, B, C, D, like that, right? So this is char, and then you'll have Boolean also, right? So Boolean is true or false. It has only two values, right? Whether it is there or it is not there, right? So Boolean, and then reference data types are like arrays, strings. So we'll talk about it. What is array? Array is a collection of similar data types, right? So you can think of like you have stack, right? You have something, you have books, right? A lot of books are there. Those are all books, right? And you can think of array as a stack of books where you'll have a lot of books, right? Those books can be different, but those are type of books, right? So basically those are books classes, and you have array of books classes. Similar to like that, this will become like why I'm telling, because you can relate with this. Otherwise will not go much like in array objects and all. First we'll start with int array, something like that, right? So int is one data type, and you can define a number, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? And you have lot of different numbers. For an example, 1 to 10 you have, and you can define in an array, right? How these are defined, that I will basically cover in the practical part. But you can think of it like this, right? You have some collection of something, right? Strings are like uh, strings are something like hello world, right? Here you see that below the definition, the name itself is a string. My name is Amit Srivastav. So if I have to define that as a property, right? I'm a human and my name is Amit Srivastav. So in human class, name property is there where I will in double quotes. Always the string is defined as double quotes, and inside that I will give my name, right? So that would be a property of that class, right? So string also is a type of property which you can type of variable which you can define, right? Okay, so let me just go back to, because now all these things are practical, right? And let us start with that. Otherwise, it will become boring. You will just listen to these things and probably will forget easily, right? So let's go back to the practical part. Uh, so how we can do that, right? We can first what you can do is you can go to Google. Probably you can search setup Java IntelliJ. Okay, and then here there is a link, right? You can just click on this link, create your first Java application. Okay, but before that, I talked about it that you need IntelliJ or Eclipse. There are different editors, or Visual Studio Code also. You need to have that installed on your machine so that it will be easy to run the program. You can always run the program without these editors also, but that would become complicated. Let's not do that. I would suggest that you can install, all right? Uh, IntelliJ is something which is very popular editor. So let's say I have Mac OS, right? So how I can go and install is that basically if you search in Google, download IntelliJ, right? So if you go here, you will see an option, but here you see an option Ultimate, right? So Ultimate, don't install Ultimate. It requires a license. It provides a 30-day free trial. If you are interested, you can go and install, but let me just search for it, right? Community edition. So always search for community edition and go to this link, right? Other versions. If you go here, right, it will give you an option, right, to download community edition. It is always free. You can download and install on your device. I already have it, so I'm not going to install it again. But based on that operating system, right, whatever your operating system is, you can go and install. So I have like Mac OS, so I'll go and install. Click on this and install, right? And in Apple also, there are two types of chips are there, Intel and Apple Silicon. Whichever is your or Windows you have, right? You can go and install Windows. Okay. So once you install, right, what you need to do is basically you need to set up Java. Okay. And in IntelliJ, right? So there are different types of, once you click on, let me just go back. Once you click on new project, right? So you see what all things it is asking, right? Let's say I'll say this is my first project. Okay, can give the name like this. Okay, and where do we want to keep it? That is the location. IntelliJ is the build system. Build system, don't get into all these things. Okay, just select IntelliJ. And then you can, if you do not have JDK installed, you will see an option to download JDK. Okay, once you do download JDK, it will give you an option which version you want to download and what is the vendor and where you want to install it, right? So you can select the latest version, whichever it is showing to you, right? For me, it is showing 23. I think 23 is the latest Java version. You can select that and then select Oracle OpenJDK. This is also free. So you will not need any license or something. So you can go and click on this uh, uh, okay, right? And after that, you will click on create. Okay. Once you click on create, basically, here you see, right? Installing Oracle OpenJDK. So it automatically it will download that JDK and you can use that, right? It is very easy. Instead of going and downloading that JDK separately and then basically doing all that setup. So you can go and do this. So you see, right, when I have created this new project, automatically this IntelliJ creates a file for me, and this is the sample file which it creates for me, and that is a main class, right? Main class, and I talked about it. The main method. Main method will it has one statement. Let me just bring it down. So it has one method, main method, and it is not doing anything but just printing this hello world here. Hmm? Okay. So let me just run this program. You will see that in action. If I click on a play button here, so basically what it means that it is running this program. There is another option. You can go right click on this file, and then click on run main.main. You see, right? I was talking about that which method you want to run, right? It tells you, right? Main.main. So always that in Java standalone program, when you are writing, right? So you will have main, you need to have main method. And that is your starting point from when Java understands that your program is starting from there. Okay. And then we'll do that run. And here what you see, right? It prints hello world. Okay. So let me come back to this one, right? Our presentation. So we talked about few things. I'll just go back quickly. Uh, we'll talk about variables and data types, control flow, functions, methods, right? All these things, right? So let's see it in action now, right? So I was always, I was just telling that, we can have a human kind of example which I was giving, right? So let me just use that, right, and create one class for that. So if you go to source, so you see the Java project has something like this directory by default. Directories are created by IntelliJ, and this is required basically when you want to create one Java project. So the source is the folder which tells that all your classes are going to reside inside this basically the programs which we are writing, those will reside inside your source folder. There's an out folder. We'll talk about that later. Let's not put more attention towards it, but this is the main one. Okay. And then what we'll do, right click on the source, we'll click on new, and we'll click on Java class. Now, let me just give a name of this class, human. And here you see different options are there. So let's focus on this class itself for now, right? I'll come on to this interface and other things later on. But yeah, this is the class, and you just click on this. And you see, right? This has created a class for you. But will you be able to run it? Can I run it? No, I don't see that option right here to run. Because why? Because there is no starting point for this class, right? So what I want one main method. So if you type in IntelliJ, right, this is the shortcut. If you type main, here you see below, all right, this is showing an option, right? So when you click on this, double click on this, automatically it creates a main method for you. And now this is my starting point. I'll just do and right click, and you see, right? You have these options now showing up. Run human.main, run debug human.main, and all these things, right? So this is the starting point, but let us see that now you know all this, right? But we want to define some properties, right? So we'll come on to this variable data types. Data types, I said, right? There are four different types of data types are there. You see, right? And these are primitive data types. And there are other data types like arrays, strings, and there are many more, right? We'll talk about it later. But these are the major ones which are being used on day-to-day basis when we are doing the programming, right? So let's define one int, right? So if we do private, what does it mean? As I said, right? Private means it is private to this class, right? I will just show you one thing. Okay, private int, let's say age. Yeah, it is giving suggestion also. But yeah, so let's say private age. So every human will have some age, right? And you can have that. And every human will have some name, for an example, right? I will have private int number of uh, lakes, for an example, I was talking about, right? Okay, okay. So these three, let me first show you that what does this private mean? As I said, right, private is private to this particular class. No other class would be able to see these properties. Now I have another class. You see here, main, which was created earlier by IntelliJ itself. Now I want to see the properties of this human dot. What I can see here, main. Okay, main I can see. So main is what? Public. Second thing is that there is a concept in Java called like static and non-static, right? So static means something which can be accessed by any other class without creating an object of that class. So let me just tell you, just make it little easy. So in Java, right, you create the class. When you create the class, how would you access that class? So now this human class is created. I want to access the properties of this class. How can I access? So there is a way, right, how we can access the properties. Like how we do that in Java, it's like human equal to new human. When we say this, right, new, this is the important thing, right? This, when we say new human, and there are two brackets here, opening and closing brackets, and human, and this is the name of the object. So basically we are creating the object in Java. And now if I do human dot, you see, there are many methods nowadays showing. Earlier, when I was doing human dot, you see, there are few options only available, right? So if you want to access the properties of a class, right, then you have to create an object of that class and you can access the properties. If those properties are not defined as static properties, let me just do one thing. Private static, sorry, public static. Private, when I say it, right? So first, let me first show this private thing, then I'll come back onto this static one. Okay, here you see, right? Human dot, when I see, still here, if I go down also, I am not seeing age anywhere, right? Because it is private. Now I'll make it public. Okay, I'll go back here. Now if I do human, you see, age is coming up. So access is uh, access is changed now from private to public. Now other classes would be able to see those properties. Okay, so just wanted to show you this. Now we have defined these three properties. Let's think of in floating numbers. Probably I'm just thinking about what should we put in human, right? In floating numbers. Mm, maybe can say so. Uh, okay, I'm just taking this. Okay, I'm not sure. Intelligence level, something like that, right? And let's think of like it is in points also. Some out of 10, some numbers are given, and some particular human has some intelligence level of 8.7 or 3.5 or whatever, any number, right? Whatsoever. So that can be defined as float. You can think of like any object, right? And inside those properties, what types of values are getting to going to set, right? So that can be defined like this. And you see, right, Boolean is another property, data type, primitive data type, which I talked about. So Boolean can be used like this. Is alive. Is alive means, yeah, in the whether means what all options are there, right? For a human, whether it is alive or not alive, right? So this is defined as Boolean type. So these are all different types. Now one more thing you are here you see, right? String also. So this is not primitive data type, but it is also a type. How you can define, let's say the name, right? It will be in double quotes and there would be name, right? Or maybe that address, for an example. If I have to create private string address, okay? So this can be defined as address. Okay, so I hope it is clear to all of you. I'll come back onto arrays. First, let's see that, in action, and there are a few more things we are going to do with this particular class, right? Let me just remove this main from here now. Okay, let's keep it first. Okay, now, uh, I was talking about, right, these are the properties which we have defined now. Now the behavior, right, of human, right? What all human can do. Let's say now, uh, to begin with, let's say let's make everything public. Okay, I'm not hiding anything from anyone. Okay. Now what is the human behavior? No, human behavior. You can correlate with these things, right? Can human see? Yes, human can see. Uh, um, or human cannot see also. Means if human is blind, right, cannot see also. So there are two things only possible in can see, whether human can see or human cannot see, right? So how do we define? These are called methods. Here, I think we talked about it earlier. Mm, functions and methods in Java, right? So this is the method. How do we define the methods? This public again is access modifier, which I talked about, whether it is publicly available and anybody can use this method, or only this particular class can use, then we have to make it private, right? And this second thing, what is written here is called the return type of that class. So return type, basically what it is that when I am calling this function, any other class, let's say main is another person who is calling this human and telling that, a human, I want to know whether you can see or not, right? So it will say human object it has created, and it will say, hey human, can you see? Okay, it can call this method, and this human will say, okay, let me return you something, right? So basically, this is a query, like you are asking some questions, and I will answer those questions, right? So main is asking question, and human is answering it. So this is called method where these things are there. The access modifier, what is the return type, and what is the name of that method. Basically, what is the purpose of this method? You can write anything here, ABC also, you can say anything, right? But it does not make any sense. So we always put some, logical names to it, right? Which will, if let's think about something which randomly you are doing something, right? And other person is not able to understand, right? So that will not make any sense. So this is like how these methods can be created. There would be some return types associated with that. Now coming on to this control flow, right? Okay, let me see. I think somebody else is joining. Okay. Uh, coming on to this, if okay, so this control flow. Okay, let us see it in action. If let's say blind, right? If blind, what do you say? Return false, else return true. Hmm? So if a person, right, if a human is blind, in that case, definitely can't say. It makes sense, right? Return false. But If a person can see, return true. So this is the control statement. How it goes is like if, else, and there's one more thing, like it is called else if. Else if. Okay, in else if also you pass some condition, right? And that condition, so how it goes, like the first, when Java runs the program, it first goes to this if condition, checks whether this if condition is satisfied, it will go and execute this. If it is not satisfied, then it will go to else if condition. Means either this or that. If you have multiple options, right? You uh, you don't have only two things, right? If or else. If you have multiple things, right, then you can use else if also, where you can define some other criteria, and based on that criteria, you want to return something, right? So then if, else if, else. So a statement, how it will be executed? If would be executed first, then else if would be executed, then else. Else would be executed if none of them are executed. And you see, right? So multiple else if conditions you can write here. Else if, like that, you can write many else if. And I have not put any conditions here, but yeah, you can think of like something like true if I say, right? So any condition which you pass, if that is satisfied, that will go inside that condition and execute. Otherwise, no, right? So clear on this part. Let's move on to the next one. So I talked about here, right? So functions and methods, how we can create the control flow, and if else we covered, we have not covered loop so far. So how we can create. So in this particular session, right, we will not be able to cover many things. Java is very vast, okay, I'll tell you. It has a lot of things. There's an advanced concept also we won't be able to cover. But we are going to cover very basic part of it, right? In this 1 hour session, right? And we are going to almost going to complete that. Uh, Only 7 minutes are left, but maybe you will get an idea about that how this Java program is and what all things we need, right, to run the Java program. And you can play around it. You can download Java. You can download IntelliJ. Then you can download Java, and you can just create a simple class. You can just see that how we can define those properties. You can look at in Google also you can search for that how to write a Java program, what are classes, all these things you can read about it. And I will also basically I'll continue taking the classes for this, right? So Java entire course I will cover, everything will cover which are there in Java, and those details would be shared here. That how you can register for those classes, and we'll cover everything there, right? All the concepts of Java, and there would be multiple complex topics also we are going to cover as part of the program, right? Uh, okay, so let's see that 2-3 minutes will cover other things also, and then probably we'll move on to Q&A. And if you have any questions, you can just pose your questions, and I'll try to take those questions. And if you have something, right, if you're interested to join this program, probably you can register for it. Anshika would share more details about it, right? So another thing, let us cover quickly, I think, as part of this session itself. Uh, Something, let me move it back to return true. Okay. Uh, the loops, right? Which I talked about it, that if you want to run something again and again. So for an example, uh, inside this main method, I'm running a program, right? I want to print. Oh, okay, let me just. So as out is I'm using this shortcut, but actually I'll just talk about it. That what is it? Okay, let's take this number 1, 2, 10. Okay, so this is how we write the loop statements. So for means this is a loop statement. and then int I equal to 1. This part is, if you see semicolon is here, right? So what it means that this is first part is called initialization. So I, if I define the property I, what value it will be initialized to, and then the second, after this first semicolon, whatever second thing is there, that is called the condition. So this is the loop, right? But it should not run forever. I want somewhere it to stop, right? So that condition I have to give. So I am telling that when my I value will become 10, just stop and exit from this loop. I don't want to run this loop, forever. I just want to run until the value will become 10. And then I plus plus is the third part, after this semicolon. If you see, so I plus plus means in Java, it is telling that it will increment by 1. So I plus plus is increment by 1. So what I'm doing is that I'm telling, okay, just print this value. So I hope it will be clear to all of you. For statement and initialization, condition, and then what do you want to perform? You want to increment I by 1. Now let's see that we'll run this program. You see, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So until 10, it has printed, and then after that, you see nothing is printed and it process is finished. It means nothing else was there after this to execute. That's why it says process is finished, right? Your program has run successfully. Okay, so this thing we have covered. Uh, there are few things which we could not cover. We were thinking that probably we would be able to cover, but my overall like agenda was that first you need to understand the basic concepts of it. What is Java? What are objects? And how we can define a class, what is class, right? How we can visualize, right, in our mind. So whenever we are creating something, right, how we can create that. So all those things are covered as part of this session. Unfortunately, we don't have too much of time as part of this session. Probably if something else would come up, and I'll probably come up with other sessions also in future. But it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions, please post your questions in the forum, and let me try to answer.
Yeah, so Amit, as we know that we don't have it running out of time, kind of, right? So let's move to last slide. And guys, I'll send out email with the all presentation. The YouTube link would be there. And there is a Discord channel which you can join, and then we can talk about whatever the upcoming events, and also if you want to learn something, you have any question, we can answer. It's a community group basically. So whatever topic regarding programming language, you can, not just Java, you can talk about other languages as well. And we are very actually prompt to answer all the queries. And we are happy to happy to get like we'll be very happy if you share your feedback using this QR code, or I also send out email maybe later today, and with the link, Google review and all, and drop your feedback on that so that we can feel encouraged to schedule more webinar sessions. And next time I will definitely keep that in mind. I will mostly try to target India time zone for India audience. So I know it becomes difficult. It's a late night, right? So that is a little hard, right? I understand that part. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining the call, and I'm hoping to see you all on Discord channel to communicate with you guys. And thank you,
Yeah,
Amit, for taking
thank
time.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time. Bye.